All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's the King and I Life podcast. We are back, part two, talking about monogamy versus open relationships. Again, hit us up, King and I at King and I 369 at gmail.com. That's KINGAND 369 at gmail.com. And again, you can find us on all of your major podcast platforms. Also, don't forget to look at for us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. So, Sun Soul X, get back into it, brother.
Okay. And the second part of that um, that I would say is with me mentally, you really have to be in a mental space of, okay, if she's doing her thing, then let it be what it is for her.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I to get all in my goddamn feelings and say, no, 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 this isn't gonna work now. This isn't gonna work. Um, if you open a door, you have to be willing to walk through it. And when you walk through it, you got to be willing to accept the consequences of walking through that door. Um, Another aspect of that is you have to be willing to accept that, first of all, your woman she's grown. You know, you have to, if you say you trust her, then you have to trust her
Mm-hmm.
to not involve herself in a situation that could get out of hand, that could lead to you and her going your separate ways.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to be man enough to say, because this door is open, let her enjoy her life. Let her, if she sees someone that she's attracted to like that, let her do her thing.
Mm.
Who am I to tell you that, nope, I'm the only person in the whole planet that's a man that's going to sharpen you?
Well, they should be your last. You shouldn't be really
I,
fishing.
I, I'm human. So when I say that, I'm coming from the perspective of I'm not Jesus. I can't walk on water. I don't have all the damn answers. I don't. Only thing I can do is take this journey with you and see it through to the end because this is the type of person I am, and I chose this life. I signed up for this. Didn't nobody make me sign a damn marriage license. Didn't no one make me propose to my wife. This is the queen I chose to be with for the rest of my life.
Right
Um,
on.
but again, the point that I'm making is I feel like this. I've been in enough relationships where I've broken a lot of hearts, but I've also had my heart broken a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I understand the reasoning behind someone wanting to maybe have an open relationship
Mm-hmm.
because again, it comes down to um, I can't be anything and everything to you. There's just no way in this world I can do that. I can get close. I can go the extra mile every chance I get to, or I have an opportunity to. But I just know that I wasn't born in a manger. You know what I'm saying? So so
True.
no, I don't have all the answers.
Oh man.
So,
Um,
well, I got some more questions, so I hope somebody can answer them. So that
Shoot.
goes to
Shoot.
two. It goes to two-part question. So my first question is: so would it change if there's only one person? So you're the one at home, and he or she is going out on their date. They're open about it because you didn't agree to it, but you agreed to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And my second part is there rules to this? What about condoms? What about protection? What if the wife or the girlfriend gets pregnant or you get someone pregnant? Because now again, you've opened the door. What about diseases? I mean, you're exchanging fluids and you're also exchanging spirits. So are there rules? Like when you decide, yes, I'm gonna have an open relationship, do people actually discuss the ins and outs, or we're just trying to fulfill that that lust?
Um. Hmm. Good question. I would venture to say minorities more likely won't discuss that type of thing. Um. But I would assume that if that is a discussion, or even if it's not a discussion, I would have to assume that they go into it with the knowledge and the consideration that, you're not gonna go out there and bring something home. Um, you're not gonna go out there and get somebody pregnant, or get pregnant, or you're not gonna go out there and get in a situation to where you fall in love with that person. Now you want to leave home. Um, so I would assume all those conversations are had, but then if they're not had, um, again, I would assume that if you stepped out on there and you didn't inform your partner, that you stepped out there with a conscious mind saying, you know, although I'm stepping out there, I need to make sure X, Y, and Z don't happen. So when I go back home, I can lay down with more of a peace of mind.
All right. I'm sorry. I was trying to make sure I paid attention. Give me those two questions again, please, just so I can
Sure.
break it off to you.
Um, does it change the dynamic pretty much if only one person is the one going out while you stay home? Does that change how someone feels about the situation? Yes, your partner was honest that they wanted an open relationship. Maybe you didn't agree with it, but you did decide to stay. And now they're going out and you're at home. Does that change things? And then the other part was, is there rules to this? Do you sit down and discuss condom usage or non-condoms? Her getting pregnant or you getting somebody pregnant? Like, are those things discussed when it comes time for open relationship? Because again, you are opening the door for all of those things, and you're also taking on whatever someone else is going through when you intertwine bodies.
Um, I'm gonna answer the second one first. Do it change the dynamic of the relationship? Hell yes, it changes the dynamic of the relationship. There's no doubt it's gonna change the dynamics of the relationship. Um, I think when you're in a situation like that, again, you're allowing that person to grow in a different direction. So the question to you at that point is, do you love this person enough to let them grow? Now, with that being said, do that mean you're willing to accept the fact if she got pregnant by another woman? I think that depends on the individual. For me, would I be able to accept that shit? Hell no. I'll be real with you. Uh,
Appreciate.
Now, would I be stupid enough to go out there and create a child with another woman? Hell no. I don't want that kind of a situation. We can come together and have our fun, protectively. Um, our relationship is different than the one it would be with my other partner. You know what I'm saying? Because again, there may be something else that person can add to my value with. Meaning, let me learn from you and you learn from me. But going back to your first question of rules, hell yes, there are rules. You have to be able to sit down with your partner and say, okay, uh, this is my list of things I'm willing to accept, and this is my list of things I'm not willing to accept. So again, when you're entering that type of relationship, changing the dynamics of it, there has to be some type of foundation that you both can refer back to and say, okay, uh, me hanging out all night or spending the night, nope, that's not acceptable on her book. So let me go and get my ass on anyways.
So I'd assume that you wouldn't be, not you per se, but that individual would be bringing someone to their home then. That
Oh
unless they were
hell no,
swinging.
hell no,
I mean, unless they were swinging,
no,
then that would be
no.
different.
I mean, no,
But I
no.
would assume you wouldn't bring,
Hell no.
that person to your
Ain't
house.
no bringing them to my home. They ain't no bringing them around my kids. They ain't none of that. That's not gonna happen. That's not going down. Definitely have to be, one of my stipulations. But again, that's just me personally. Some people they cool with that. And I'll give you a prime example of that. I'm gonna say a friend of mine. I'm not gonna mention his name because I know he will probably want to strangle me.
Oh
But
man.
he is actually he was married. He and his wife unfortunately got a divorce, and it turned out to be a situation where he, as a person, he was just going in a different direction, and his wife was like, "No, no, stay here. Don't grow as a person."
Mm,
Um, and he met someone uh, that he had, I guess you can say, a real connection with.
mm,
Unfortunately, again, his relationship was on the rocks. He and his wife got a divorce, but after the smoke clears, they say. I don't know if their relationship started before he got a divorce or after he got a divorce. I don't know, and I don't want to say one way or another because I don't want to lie. But he started this relationship with this new female, and this new female, she was married,
oh wow.
but they had the type of relationship where my friend was cool as fuck with her husband.
Mm,
Oh.
I'm not saying they were brothers, but they were just cool as hell because they had this one person in common that they both grew to love, you know.
mm.
So there was no jealousy, And I actually saw this with my own two eyes, and I'm like, wow, that's astonishing to me because
It's
me,
astonishing to
I'm
me.
at that point. I'm like, this is straight pimping, son,
Oh,
for lack of a better word. But
Entanglement.
oh,
anyway, he made it work, and they actually the kids were there, and
mm,
they do barbecues and movie nights and go kick it, on the town, go to dinner, and I'm like,
mm.
bro, you good,
Better than
you
me.
good. But
Yeah, he must. Yeah, the husband
she,
must have had some shortcomings, and he knew
I
your
don't,
friend
I
was the
don't,
one laying the pipe. Cause that don't make no
I
sense.
don't
But
know if it
it
was
probably happened.
necessarily that though, because just me observing, their relationship, the guy he had no uh I'm a cockle, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not. He didn't have that. I'm a cockle
Mm.
type of mentality.
Mm,
He didn't have that. He
Oh
uh
man.
he was very confident in himself. He was very confident in his wife and the relationship that they had. So there was no jealousy or strife there that I seen. I mean, I don't know what he was like behind closed doors. He might
mm,
have been up in a corner somewhere crying and shit, but
Oh wow.
out in public, he was confident in himself.
Mm,
So,
I think it's cool if you're single, then stay single. Because if you love to, you can have a main one, I would imagine. But if you really love to explore different people or your attention span is not long enough to stay with that one person, then just stay single so you don't, you still could hurt people, but you don't hurt as much as, you know, telling your long-term girlfriend or boyfriend, like, you know, I want an open relationship, because really sometimes that is perceived that, well, I guess I'm not enough,
mm.
right? And then that person is starting to question you. Oh, you don't like this and that. You're like, no, it's fine. Well, then why are you always with such and such now? And I just feel like that starts, you know, more questions and just more of issues with it. But then I also feel that those who are in long-term relationships, whether they started when they were young or married, I believe probably your needs change over time. And how do you really address that without someone feeling that they're not enough?
Yeah, that's hard. I wanted to piggyback on something else before we moved on to the next category, relationships. I mean, talking about rules. Definitely a rule is to not bring someone home. Uh, but I think that people might get too entrenched in the weeds when it comes to rules because if I'm with someone and we have this discussion and this person says, okay, I accept you going out doing you, but you're not going to come at me with a whole laundry list of things that I can and cannot do while I'm out doing me. Because if that's the case, I might as well stay home with you and be bored or miserable, whatever the hell the case may be. Um, I'm not going to bring somebody to the house. I'm not going to parade another woman around town, bringing embarrassment to you and have people looking at you like you stupid. Um, and I'm not going to go out there and get somebody pregnant, even though I ain't got to worry about that, a vasectomy. And I'm not going to bring any diseases home to you. That to me should be the extent of it. Um, if I want to stay out all night, that's what the hell I'm gonna do. You should not have that type of restraint over me if this is the direction that we're going in now. Because
Yep.
if that's the case, if I have somebody states away, but you're gonna say I can't go stay out of town overnight because I'm gonna be with this other person.
Hmm.
I'm not accepting that from you. Now, if the chick stays in the same city and we go to a discrete location and we staying overnight, that's what it's gonna be. Period. I'm not taking all these. Well, you can't do this and you can't do that. You better not do this and that tells me that you ain't ready for that. You're not built for that. So if that's the case, then we don't even need to have this conversation. Period.
I
Period.
agree.
Um, I'm just gonna add a couple more. One, when you say not enough, people may have that mindset of, "But you're looking at me like I'm not enough,"
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and I'm thinking to myself, "You're more than enough because you are you and I am me."
Right.
But again, I don't want to restrict you from growing if you telling me that's what you need to grow,
Mm-hmm.
or if that's what you would like to explore in order to grow. So I think so many times we as people think we're not enough.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not that you're not enough. There may be again something uh a different connection you may have with someone else. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I'm an adrenaline junkie. When I tell you I'm a junkie, I do this for a living. You know what I'm saying? So my wife, she has kind of adapted to doing some of the crazier things that I like doing, like skydiving, um, driving fast. Well, she slows me down a lot, so I don't get tickets. But um, riding motorcycles. When it comes to riding motorcycles, I am so totally there. Street bikes, let's get it.
Mm.
So she's
Kawasaki.
kind of brought me in, or she settled in with me on that, to say, okay, this is your world. I accept that, this is what you like doing. So I say that to say that it's not because there's a lack of something within her that uh, I'm trying to say, that you're not enough. No, you are more than enough because you, as an individual, you're whole. I don't complete you. I just add to what's already there.
Right.
Um, Another thing I would say for me who was saying, X, your ass a real sucker. If you're willing to explore something like that or be a part of something like that, you're a real sucker, dude. No, I'm not a sucker. I'm just, I realize that for me, life is all about exploration. It's all about growing as an individual. It's all about remembering and taking on new things to help me when it's my time to pass on to the next level. Uh, I've learned everything that I can learn here. I had no restrictions as far as my learning. So I would say that to that point. And there are plenty, again, of examples of where this society is restricting you down to a certain point, I feel, by only saying you can love one person, i.e., you can only marry one person. When there are so many different people around you that help sharpen you. Um, I only like women. I'm straight. That's just what it is. That's what's in me. That's what the universe has presented to me, and I accepted that. But if you're a female or you're a male that you may like males if you're a male, you may like females if you're a female. Again, I can't knock you for doing that. You know, I'm who the hell am I to judge you because you decide that you know, your sexual preferences are different than mine.
Hmm.
Hell, I didn't make the damn trees. I didn't make the wind. I didn't come up with the damn stars and the moon and all that shit. So who the fuck am I to, excuse me, who am I to judge you for doing that?
Right.
So I say let live. But to get back on topic,
Oh, that was a good topic which you just intersected in. That was good.
the point that I'm making here is why restrict someone that you love from growing in a way that helps them to become a better person overall? And I'll be
So
quiet on that.
I have two things for that. You sparked my attention with the, if the woman wants to explore being with women or that's, what they like. So
And that'll pretty
is
much
it
take
more
us into swinging.
accepting for a man to say, oh, my girl is with another girl, right? Or
Mhm.
with women, I really don't, as much as I wouldn't want my man with another woman, I surely don't want him with another man. I mean, that just wouldn't be for me, but at all. But maybe there's somebody out there that would be okay with it. And my other part is, if it's just about sex, you're not building with this person, you're not taking up another trade. What really are you growing? You're just having sex. And what if your partner does do all around the world and they can sweat out your weave and she makes you have a good sweat, like the sex is good, like you're not complaining that the sex isn't good. So really, what are you growing if you're not building, you're not really taking this other person out on dates, you're just having sex? What are you growing? Because you have mentioned growing a few times. What are you growing in?
My thing about that is, again, if I was to enter a relationship, you know, of that standard, it's all about growth for me. It's all about building something that's going to last. You know, I want uh, those women who are in my lives. I want them to love me as much as they love themselves. So what it comes back to is let's build. You know, let's live in this big house or this nice house, and let's have all the material things that we want. But let's build something for our kids in the future. And I'll end on that.
Mm.
So we will continue the third part of this discussion on our next podcast. And we want to thank everyone for tuning in to the King and I Life podcast.
Yeah, have a good evening.